So I mentioned high society before. I wasn't always broke. There was a decent period of time where I was living on my own and making things happen. The hard part was the last 5 years. But between that and, maybe 21, yeah, I was doing okay. And I had access to several different places because YOLO. I mean, that's how I lived. So, one thing you'll find about high society is they're all about appearances. At least in certain sects of it. I mean, high society is nothing different than lower society, but people are more able to be who and what they are. There's more freedom. I've mentioned this before. But the short and skinny is there's just, with all that freedom and let's say the money is inherited, there's usually no sense of personal accomplishment, and quite often there is a sense of kind of survivor's guilt for you're doing okay. In fact, more than way more than you need to be okay. And you didn't do anything to get it. And then these people over here are suffering. Survivor's guilt or rich person guilt. I've talked to people that have it. And I mean, there's a different culture up there too. The reason I'm not up there is what I would have had to do to get up there and maintain it didn't fit my moral compass. So, ay. I mean, there's some good people there too. Disconnected. Like, I will give you one thing. That society is very disconnected. Like, from the rest of us, you better believe that. They have, especially if they are second generation or later, they have no concept of real struggle. I've encountered that maybe a handful of times. So, I mean, I can understand why they think this is easy or that's easy. It's because for them it is. They've never had to. And you know what? To each their own. Because I've seen so many of them unhappy. I mean, yeah, they're living luxuriously, right? They got the Porsches, and I drive only Porsche. Yeah, I remember that guy. But his kids didn't like him. He was an absentee father, but he also had a lot of fun. Like, holy crap, had fun. So, I mean, if you're willing to be selfish like that, that's fine. But I would rather be the father that's present. And that's just me. And then, after I decided to take a gamble on... I took a gamble on a project. And that's how I ended up in Chicago. But I took a gamble, and I lost. I mean, I still came out. But, I mean, I know I say if you throw me in the jungle, like, I'll walk out wearing skins. That time I didn't. It was an urban jungle, and I walked out with my skin. So, I mean, life is life. And people are coming at it from different perspectives. Ultimately, what matters is what we do with the time we have. That's it. Whether or not you're remembered doesn't really matter. Like, seriously, how many people have been forgotten to time that thought they had some kind of legacy? And the ones that did get remembered either wrote documents and preserved them from somebody else destroying them. His story. It's like to the victor go the spoils. Or they had slaves. Pharaoh and all that good stuff. Pyramids and it. Or they were just really dark people. Those freaking Mayans and Aztecs, man. They were some dark people. Whew. And I don't mean the skin tone. Like that sun worshipping just got really bonkers. I mean, if you want to see a replay of that, watch the 2024 election. We got a cult forming. Cult of personality, but also a cult. But yeah, high society, there's a huge disconnect. And there is looking down. I can assure you of that. You're just not going to hear them do videos like this because they don't have to. Like the ones that are really, really well off, that don't really have a worry or care, they're trying to find themselves surrounded by people that are narcissistic and trying to prove themselves too. Everybody approaching it a different way, everybody with a different agenda. Like the one thing that pulled me away from that, like the one major thing is, I like strategy, but you have to wear your mask 24/7. There's so much duplicity. Everybody wants to trust, but everybody's looking for advantage. I mean, it's just like that. Certain TV shows are accurate, but very exaggerated, meaning the theme is there. And it does happen. I'm not going to start giving examples because that would be a very long list. But yeah, the themes are there. And it's kind of similar in the way that, like Married with Children, the actors were interviewed and they said, yeah, people came up to us and said, yeah, my life's just like that. And it was meant to be a parody show, not a reality comedy show. But that's what they got from it because some people, that's their experience. That's their background. And I can understand it. I understand how the trauma continues and all of that. I've seen it. I've met the fathers. I've met the children. I've met the mothers. I've met the daughters. Ultimately, the cardinal of anything negative is selfishness. One person's the others. And in higher society, like you're always having to watch your image. Because it is tight-knit into different groups and cliques, usually by profession or by trade or like the businesses you own at that point. And it's just a good old boy type thing, you know what I mean? Like, it's just people getting by, making their own money sometimes, but in the younger years, like up until like 24, 25, like there was one client of mine that was hitting up his son of a billionaire friend, and they were like showing off their backs and saying, yeah, but I'm still, tough and this and that and the other. Like one was calling the other out for using one drug, the other called the other out for using another drug. Like it was, that society is something different. And keep in mind, these are 20-somethings. One's living on his own, the other's living on his own, but with an ankle bracelet. Like, not joking. Serious. Totally dead serious. So, I've had a wild and fun life. I've seen a lot of things. The one thing I know about life is I don't want to live in that society. I've seen it. I've had enough exposure to know things behind closed doors. Didn't want any more. It's not appealing to always have to wear the mask and to always be watching out for the next move and anticipating it. I mean, I've been there. I've done it. I just don't want to do it as a living. It was fun for the time, but then it got old and it got exhausting, especially with everything else. I wasn't born into it. I had to walk into it. Anywho, y'all stay safe.